final episode of this year's Sogcast. We were thinking about wrapping it up last week, but we had some technical difficulties again. So this is the finale for this season. I'm looking forward to the off season. It has been a long, grueling process for the whole thing. Technical difficulties on our side, and the Mariners squandering another chance at the playoffs. It's been a long season. I'm looking forward to resetting, but until then, we'll bang this out for you. Everyone, welcome back to the final episode of the podcast this season. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Garrett. It's the season's over party, part 2.
Yeah, part 2. We're back to bullshit some more. The Mariners ended up at 85 and 77. Boo.
That is disappointing.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year, we were talking about how the Mariners always shoot to be in that like low or high 80s range for wins. And I always say, 92 wins sounds pretty good. 92 wins is a great number to shoot for, but we always undershoot it, and we take too many risks on coin flip players at our stadium where hitters seem to come and just absolutely shit the bed when they get here and then go elsewhere and perform well, like Teoscar Hernandez and Eugenio Suarez. Just had great years at home for their teams, but not for ours last year. The Mariners had a lackluster season again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, it just, with them sweeping the A's, even though we were already eliminated, those games didn't matter. So with us sweeping the A's, though, the Mariners missed the playoffs by one game.
One game.
One game back.
Just one.
Again.
Think about all those games this year that we just kind of handed away.
All those Angels games.
Man.
All those Angels games.
So many Angels games.
And what's funny is one of the losses was a loss to the Rockies where we were winning 7-0 in the first inning. And if we had not pissed away that game, that would have been the one game that we needed to win, and we would have had the tiebreaker. So,
Tight.
That's a tough one.
That's good
Yeah.
news.
Remember that loss? Ow.
yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. The Mariners just did not give their pitching run support this year. You know, I looked at our winning percentage when we gave them 2 runs or less, between 0 and 2 runs of run support. Our winning percentage was 141 or something. I don't know where the splits are right now, but it was
141% of the time we would win.
it was 0.141, 14% of the time we would win.
Yeah.
And that's with our pitching even performing pretty well, even in those games where we didn't give them run support.
Just look at Logan Gilbert's record.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
It's terrible.
And he had a great year. He had a great season. And if you just look at win-loss, which obviously the stat is flawed, but it's still something you notice, and his win-loss is terrible.
Oh, you can use that stat to say we didn't give our pitchers enough run support. That
yeah.
absolutely proves that point.
It's implied when you see that he started 33 games and he has 14 decisions or something like that.
Yeah,
you're like, what the hell happened?
I think his final record is 8-11 or 8-12, some shit like that. Just
fire.
Just absolutely unfair. I saw that the Mariners allowed the fewest runs in all of baseball this year. It was 550 something.
Yeah, they did.
Fewest runs in all of baseball given up, and did not make the playoffs. And going off of the money stuff, again, we talked about this in part 1. It's not that the Mariners don't spend money. It's just that they spend money on crap. The Detroit Tigers, the highest paid person on the Detroit Tigers payroll right now is making $2.2 million.
Damn.
They're
paying absolutely nobody, and they're in the playoffs.
They surged. They do have a lot of talent over there, but they weren't expected to do that at all. But with all the pieces that they had some kind of synergy, I guess, and just exploded at the end of the season. And like I've been saying, it's best to be hot when it matters. And they got hot for the last whole entire month and took the league by storm and surprised everybody. The Royals, I wasn't too surprised that they got there, but they had to fight for it, and they proved that they added the pitching they needed in the offseason. They did everything they need to get there and exceeded expectations as well. And I'm proud of both of those teams, but where the hell did the Tigers come from? I'm just saying. That team was at the bottom Where'd they come from, guys?
Detroit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The Mariners not making it and the Detroit Tigers making it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
At least we didn't have. I mean, I guess we kind of did have an epic collapse, but it happened like in the middle of the season, whereas the Minnesota Twins epic collapse literally happened at like the last month of the season. They went something like 5-15 over their last 20 games and lost a playoff spot. That's tough to swallow.
Yeah, that was worse than what the Mariners had going. I feel like the Mariners just kind of did it in small increments, like they weren't hot for an extended period. They weren't cold for an extended period. Like they couldn't pull out of a nosedive when they needed to most and like lost a bunch of games in the middle there, but they played pretty even all year long. Like they didn't have the catalyst or like the hot streak they needed like they had in the last couple of years where they really made a push at some point down the road. And this year it just didn't come. It felt so stagnant.
One interesting thing, too, about them having a 10-game lead in the West early on in the season.
June 17th, 18th.
And all that stuff, but still playing like middling baseball. The Mariners never won or lost more than 4 games in a row for the entire season.
Whoa.
So they never had a winning streak of 5 games. They never had a losing streak of 5 games. So there was no big jump. Although I swear after that 10-game lead disappeared, I thought we'd lost like 30 in a row. That's what it felt like. But
we just kept losing 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4.
Yeah,
and
that was like even when we hadn't like got swept or
We
anything.
hadn't lost a series for a good chunk of time there. And we were like, if we can just keep this up all season, we're making the playoffs. And then
Just
nosedive.
the exact opposite. Instead of winning 2 of 3 and not sweeping, we were losing 2 of 3 and narrowly avoiding a sweep. So
there was a couple-week period there where we played the Tigers twice. It was like, end of July, early August.
That was a brutal time.
And
Yeah.
we lost a series to them the first time and then got swept by them the second time and had to play the Dodgers in there too. Like we were having a terrible time at that point in the season. It like we were saying, we never got too high or too low and things kind of turned around, but we never got over the hump and really like got off the ground. And it sucks.
When we played the Dodgers, Mookie Betts interviewed Cal Raleigh, and that was a fun conversation. Did you guys watch that?
I didn't watch that one. That's cool though.
It is really cool. Found out that Cal Raleigh's dad like scouted Mookie Betts or something like that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nepotism.
Mookie Betts.
That's not how that works.
That's why Cal's in the league.
No.
You know what? That's why
dope.
that's why Mike Piazza was in the league. It was a favor to his dad.
That's some crazy New York mob shit, huh?
The crazy thing about Mike Piazza, and it ties in because Cal has just beat Mike Piazza's record for most home runs in their first 4 seasons as a catcher. Cal beat him by 1, 93 to 92. But it just the Piazza thing is crazy because a softball player, a women's softball player, actually got drafted in that draft before Mike Piazza, and it was the very last pick of the draft. And Mike Piazza's dad is like, "Hey, yo, how about helping me out here?" And the guy was like, "You do sell us some mean cold cuts." And
My kid can really swing it. Come on, you owe me
hey, come
one.
on, hey, what are we doing here?
You owe me a favor.
And they drafted him, and he ended up being one of the most best offensive catchers of all time. So
Yep.
sometimes it works out.
It was Mike Piazza and Ivan Rodriguez. Those guys were sluggers.
Yeah, those guys were slaying back in the day.
And now Cal Raleigh. That's really cool.
And
Cal
now
Raleigh.
Pay him
man.
whatever he wants.
Yes.
Also, he tied Alvin Davis for most homers as a Mariner in their first 4 years. Alvin Davis,
Sweet.
Mr. Mariner.
Mr.
I was
Mariner.
saying, sign up Cal Raleigh. Let's just say it now. I know Scott Boras is his agent, and that's tough, but like 45-year contract, as much as he wants, whatever. Just pay him for his whole life.
Yeah.
That dude should be called Mr. Mariner at the end of his career. And we've been saying it. We're going to keep saying it.
I'll say it.
I'll say it until he is no longer on the team, which is hopefully never. Hopefully in 20 years he retires a Seattle Mariner and we build a statue. And if we let him walk, I mean, I let a lot of shit slide with this team. But if we let Cal walk without paying him, it's really going to hurt my fandom. I don't know how much more I could put up with if this team does something like that.
But Harry Ford. But Harry Ford, dude, he's coming.
But
they just keep promising the next
TBD,
wave.
dude.
Yeah.
It sucks that our window.
What if it's good?
Our window should still be open right now, right? I mean,
That
what
was
the
the
hell?
plan, right?
That was the plan.
3 years ago, that was the plan.
Luis Castillo, mid 2022, helps us get to the playoffs for the first year in 20 plus years. Like, that worked out. We pushed for the playoffs last year. We pushed for the playoffs this year.
No, we didn't have Castillo, or we made the playoffs in 21 with Ray, because we still had Robbie
I think
Ray,
it was mid 2022 we picked up Luis Castillo.
and we didn't make the playoffs.
I think that's the year we made it.
Did we not make it in 21? Wasn't it 21 with Robbie Ray? And 22?
I'm pretty sure we picked up Castillo in 2022, and that's the year we made the playoffs, and it's been 2 years of just missing.
22.
22.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're used to losing all the years, just kind of
Time
jumbled together.
all blur.
Yeah, I fucking lose track.
Just more of the same stuff. But 2022 is the 1 year that the Sounders didn't make the playoffs and the Mariners did. So there's some weird mojo curse with the Sounders. They always make the playoffs. The Mariners never do. And the 1 year that they don't, the Mariners made it. So we need to start doing some weird mojo switch with the Sounders and like switch the stadium mojo energy, whatever, the Soto mojo all day, baby. I don't know. We're cursed.
We
It
need
feels
an
cursed.
identity again. It can be whatever.
We've had this problem before.
Well, lack of identity is, I think, one of the biggest issues. This team just doesn't have like a heart, like a soul. You know, even when we were winning and stuff, like it didn't. I don't know. And they're always trying new things. They change the slogans every year. Embrace the Chaos was really cool. True to the Blue was whatever. And now it's like Trident's up. And I'm sure it'll be something different next year.
It will be.
Just like, damn. The Mariners can't stick with anything besides losing. That's the only like constant with the Mariners is they're going to lose. Whereas the slogans, the players, everything is just a revolving door.
It seems that way. And I know you've said, like, keep the team together, you know. Let's try to have some continuity here.
Yes.
And, like, I don't know what it is. I feel like it is our park, man. Our park factor is the lowest in the league. There's less hits. Let's see.
That's the talk of the town amongst the Mariners fan base this year.
Yeah. And there's a great video by Will Lytics. It says something like MLB hitter's worst nightmare, I think is the title of his video. Shout out to that guy. He made a great video about how T-Mobile Park is the worst for hitters. And I mean, this chart is full of blue. There's the only thing that's red on this chart is strikeouts. From the time this park opened, it's like some years there's a lot of homers, but not many years. But it's all just strikeouts are really high at our park. Singles, doubles, triples, walks, homers, OBP, hits, runs, WOBA, bacon, ex-bacon, hard hit, everything. Blue, as like across the board. Their offense at our field is cold. Super cold.
And it makes for a lot of boring baseball.
Strikeouts are hot.
Yeah.
So does that contributes to how good our pitching is.
Yeah.
And because we play half of our games at our park, our pitching stats at home are amazing. But when we're on the road, they're just middle of the pack. They're like league average. So that makes me think that there's something going on at our park. And a lot of people have noted that the hitter's eye, especially in center field, that angle is really fucks with guys. And the glare off of the wall out there. There's all kinds of things that are going on that the Mariners could change, but, like, I don't know if they want to.
I was just going to ask, do they want to? Do they want to sacrifice a little bit of pitching to improve our hitting at home?
Do you think they should?
Yeah, I think they should.
Me too.
But they value this like crazy good pitching, which is great. That's a great thing to value. But if it's a trade-off, if our pitching is going to come down because of it, because everyone can see the ball the same way now, then I don't know. Is that that's something they even want to consider?
I just want more runs to be scored because, like, honestly, after Scott got fired and the hitting coach got fired and Dan and Edgar came in, we watched our offense jump like almost immediately. And instead of scoring anywhere from like 1 to 3 runs a game, we were scoring like 5 to 7 runs a game for the most part. And that just made for more exciting baseball. Like, I would much rather watch a game end 7-5 than 2-0, you know?
I think if it's going to be this way, where the Mariners aren't going to change anything at their ballpark, it's going to be hard to hit there. They have to play a scrappier style of baseball. And I think maybe that's why they do end up moving on from guys like Teoscar or Eugenio Suarez when they can't get it done after a couple years of struggling, or a year of struggling. And they go on to do great things with their new teams because they can see the ball better. Then like maybe they are trying to transition into a fast style of baseball. Like they signed up Victor Robles. They signed up a guy like Dylan Moore. They're just signing like quick, scrappy utility players rather than heavy hitters. And I think it's for a reason. And it's because offense sucks at T-Mobile Park.
I'm okay with that transition. A bunch of guys hitting singles rather than hitting bombs.
Sounds like a dream.
If runs score, I don't give a shit how they score. I don't care if it's 4 singles in a row or 1 mammoth blast. If we get a run, that should be the most important thing. So yeah, I'm all for, switching, I guess, kind of the style up of the Mariners instead of trying to push for these home run hitters when it's always been proven that T-Mobile is not a home run hitter's park.
And it doesn't hurt to have those guys on your team. You play half of your games on the road and half of them at home. And if you have guys that can hit no doubt or home runs, then sure, like keep them around. Like Suarez did have good years here.
Yeah.
Seager had good years here. You can hit 40 home runs here, But it's very hard. Even Mitch Haniger put up like 39 home runs or whatever it was in his season before he left. And he's not the same guy now, unfortunately. But I don't know. I think the park factor is a big deal. And we have to, if we're going to not spend money, if we're going to have I don't know. If we're going to be as thrifty as we are from the front office down, then we're going to have to play a scrappier version of baseball and not worry about signing slugger hitters or just signing them for like 1-year contracts like we kind of have been doing with Teoscar, for example. And Justin Turner is going to be gone. Randy Arozarena is going to go through arbitration this year.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Randy if we're going to trade him. People talk about trading Randy. It's like, dude, why? Like,
when
pay
do
the
we
man.
have the next class of young guys coming up? Or how many are going to make an appearance next year or slated to, play next year? Is it 2026 that we're going to have a chunk of dudes that are all young guys that we don't have to pay very much money?
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to tell because it also depends, how they. I mean, guys on the 40-man could get called up at any time.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of just depends on how Tacoma goes next year for a certain amount of guys. Maybe we see like Tyler Locklear get brought back up or
Cade Marlowe.
Ryan Bliss,
Bliss, yeah.
And so like those are guys in the waiting, but it all just kind of depends. Injuries, maybe if they're getting hot and the person playing the position at the major league level is struggling, they might get a call back up. It kind of just depends, I guess. There's not really like a surefire answer of like, oh yeah, this guy's for sure gonna be on the roster next year.
I definitely think those players you mentioned are like right now are the pool of players that we might see in the mix while we're going through the end of our playoff window before those other players emerge. But I think you're right in saying it's like 2026, 2027 where we'll start seeing Cole Young, Colt Emerson, whoever else is coming up.
Harry
Ford.
Harry Ford.
So we're gonna have to make a decision on Cal Raleigh in these next couple of years, try to extend him or wait for Ford. And like, it's weird because we do see the end of our window here, and I've been saying it kind of happens at the end of JP's contract and at the end of Castillo's contract. I'm curious whether we trade Castillo and try to cut some payroll to try to get another hitter in here
For
that's
sure.
consistent rather than Polanco, who we're going to opt out of his contract.
He's
more
not
than
coming
likely.
back.
It's a team option. More than likely, we close the door on that. But unfortunately, we're stuck with both Mitches for this next year for like $30 million combined. So that's kind of a drawback for the Mariners' pocket as well. And I did see that Stanton mentioned that we're going to do more in-house stuff this year. Payroll-wise, we're going to have a higher payroll, but a lot of it's probably going to be through extension. Hopefully, we're talking
That's
Logan
fine.
Gilbert, Cal Raleigh.
Good.
That duo,
God damn.
if we sign up
Do
those
that.
guys, it would give me a lot of hope in our future.
Yeah. Yeah, Logan and Cal are the top priorities for me.
Yes.
They're obviously setting up for the future sustainability rather than winning right now because they didn't go for it last offseason. It's too little too late this midseason trade deadline again. And we are where we are. Like, I like that we got Randy.
And Robles.
And
our
we
outfield is
signed
gonna
up
be so
Robles
fun.
already. Hopefully
I
we
was gonna
give
mention
an
the
extension
outfield,
to Randy.
When you brought up our identity, I think a full year of that is going to be really awesome.
It's
It's something that we need so badly.
that will be a lot of fun. Yes.
Vibes.
Yeah.
So, and the Mariners marketing team does do a pretty good job of like creating like nicknames and stuff and kind of like promoting that way. I mean, it was so bad. Remember when we were like, we had an identity about long-haired players because we had like, oh my God, Taylor Motter,
Ben Gamel.
and the other one, he's on the Reds.
Phillies?
Of course he's on the
No,
Reds.
he's on the Reds, right fielder.
Yeah.
Walked a lot. Oh my God, I'm spacing on his name.
Jake Fraley.
Good call.
Yeah, Fraley.
Yeah, caveman
so-
looking ass.
Yeah, so Fraley and all of them, and they had the long hair, so they like, that's really grasping at straws for marketing. So
As our team identity, we have 3 guys with long
long
hair.
hair, yeah, that's
They
pretty
had-
cool.
They had a giveaway with like hair coming out of the hat.
Yeah.
Everyone has the mullet.
So if they found a way to market that bullshit, they can find a way to market Julio, Randy, and Robles in the outfield. And that's a good point, Garrett. A full year of that, I think, should be a lot of fun. Going back real quick to touch on something they can do to fix the stadium. It is
Yes.
an easy fix. It takes no renovation. It doesn't cost you anything. Close the roof during night games. Close the roof during night games. You
Yeah.
will sit there and the cold ass water coming up off of Lake Union,
Elliott Bay, Lake Union.
and just comes through. It whirlwinds. You can watch the flags in the outfield, and they are like starch pressed, just pointing straight into the field because the wind is coming in. It helps keep the stadium warmer. It's better for the fans. If there's any chance that it gets rid of some marine layer or anything like that, the dead air, just do it. Close the damn roof during night games. I understand afternoon game, sunshine. Yeah, keep it open. Night game, a warm night game, maybe don't close it. But at the end of the year, I'm sitting there. I was at like the second to last game of the season. It's like 60 degrees.
On fan appreciation night?
Yeah, I would have appreciated a hot water bottle and a warm blanket. And it just comes in and it's stupid. I don't understand what the appeal is. Close the damn roof. If you're in the 300 level, there's enough opening. You can still get a view of the city. It doesn't completely enclose you. You don't lose the view.
Yeah.
So
it's still
close the
open.
damn roof. That is my biggest thing. Close
They
the
love doing the roof report. So they can plug whatever roofing company. Hey, your Mariners roof report is brought to you by
Valentine.
Roofing Company.
Yep.
Yep.
No free
That
ads.
roof's open. Like, that's going to be what it is.
They should-
Daytime, and it's day, so the roof's open. And then at night, and your roof report, roof's closed. Okay. Sure, it's going to be annoying, but I agree with you.
Just close the damn roof.
I'm
I
curious
think
to see.
AJ Brzezinski would also agree with you.
I'm curious to see what it's like because they never do it. They keep it open all the time, right? Like it's hardly ever closed for night games. They should start making that a standard.
Yes.
And unless it's a certain forecast, unless there's a certain barometric pressure or a dew point or something, I don't know.
Big miss.
They should try it because that's one factor for sure. And I don't think we have enough evidence to show anything about roof closed night game statistics to really show anything yet. And I'm curious if they start doing it consistently, if it makes a difference.
You know what's kind of funny is also last time I brought up closing the roof during night games, I actually got texts from 2 different people that had listened, and they were like, yeah, that drives me crazy. Close the roof. So I'm not even the only one.
No, you're not the only one.
And I just don't get it. Like Houston, I mean, yeah, theirs is more because of the unbearable heat, but they have a retractable roof, and it's closed like 85% of the time.
It's because it's like 99 degrees outside at their stadium.
But don't you think that if it was 45 degrees, they would probably also close that shit and heat it up? Like,
What if it's a nice brisk 74 degrees, no clouds?
They still
Open
leave
it up
closed.
in the day.
yeah.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
They like to control
Otherwise-
their environment.
Yeah.
And I think we should try to
control our
more.
environment better.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just like the Cleveland Guardians just put up a wall at their stadium to change the airflow through from left to right field and hit way more left-handed home runs in 2 seconds. They went from one of the least home runs in the league to middle of the pack, hitting a lot more power left-handed home runs because they created a wind tunnel. The Mariners should create a wind tunnel because we already get the air from left to right. It just swirls around in the middle. You can see it when all the smoke from the hot dog vendors goes out there.
Oh, man,
it
yeah.
fucking
You're just
swirls around.
swirling in a big toilet bowl of crap.
So at least we should at least make it easier for left-handed hitters to get it out. But
Anyway.
build a wall. Build a wall.
Build it.
Build the wall.
Mariners are going to pay for it.
Change
gonna-
the batter's eye. Do
Yeah.
something. Like, we deserve something. We want some offense. It's fucking boring. And we know our pitching's that good. It's so good. We love it. We think our pitchers are that good anyway.
Yeah.
They don't need a batter's eye that makes hitters worse. That just sucks for us. We don't want to watch our hitters strike out 15% more than anywhere else in the league. It sucks. It just
You're
makes
telling
us
me
hate
you would rather
ourselves
have a
more.
well-rounded team than a pitching dominant team?
Yes.
That's fucking dumb.
dumb. I want a speed contact oriented team if we're
We
not going
can't
to
do
change
that.
our stadium.
I'm sorry, Matt, but it's actually impossible.
Can't be done.
Can't happen.
Well, I guess I'm too idealistic for this podcast. Fuck.
So, what do we want our roster to be next year? Our outfield is set. Catching is set.
It fucking better be.
Shortstop.
Oh, wait a second. Sebi Zavala, I think he got DFA'd again. Or he opted for free agency. Actually, I think that's what
Oh,
I read.
really?
Yeah. So, tough decision
That's
for
a
him.
bold strategy, Cotton.
Tough decision for him to opt into free agency, opt out of this team. He got, he was terrible for
This
us.
team doesn't give me enough opportunity.
Well, Sebi didn't pay off here. He's a free agent. So we've got Cal Raleigh and we've got Mitch Garver as his backup.
Maybe Sebi's thinking about switching sports altogether, playing a little banana ball.
Maybe. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
He could come back to Seattle next year. We're gonna go see the Savannah
I'm
Bananas.
gonna try to get tickets. I'm sure they're gonna sell out quick.
Oh,
Yeah, we should try
Cade
to grab
Marlowe
those.
and all his homies.
Yeah. Is Marlowe playing?
He was
used to be a
he used to
banana.
be
He
one of
was?
the bananas,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, sorry to distract. What
No,
do we
no.
want the roster to look like? We had talked about it previously about should we keep most of the same guys around to try and propagate team cohesion, or do we trade away what we have, our strengths, I guess, to get some solid bats that can actually put up some offensive numbers on this team?
Well, I think it's okay. I mean, every year, every team is going to have a little bit of turnaround,
Yes.
of people leaving and coming. Just
But the mainstays.
Yeah.
I mean, first base is a position that could kind of go either way. What do you want to do?
I would like Luke Raley at first base every single day. And really the only openings we have are starting pitchers locked down, our outfield's locked down. So maybe
Second base is always open. For the
second base
Mariners.
has always been open.
JP Crawford's going to play shortstop.
Probably.
Did you know JP had the best fielding percentage for any Mariners shortstop ever with like a 996 fielding percentage? I
Good
mean, he
work.
obviously qualified because he had enough opportunities, and he had a really great defensive year again because he's awesome. So ESPN put out that little snippet. Thanks, ESPN, for finding obscure little things like that kind of matter.
Rojas coming back to play third base.
That's
I
what I'm
hope so.
wondering.
I see a lot of people.
He's
I've heard a lot.
Dope at third base.
I heard a lot of stuff like, oh, we need to find a new everyday third baseman. I was like, what are you talking about? We have an everyday third baseman. His average dipped at the end of the year. I would like a little bit more offensive production from him.
Drive line.
But, I mean, his defense is phenomenal. And, I mean, he really has a shot for a gold glove this year. So,
I would slate him in for next year.
100%. Yes, I'm still high on Rojas.
You want to bring JT back?
I would love that.
I would love that as well.
He's going to go into free agency, so we'll see
Probably,
what
no.
happens. I mean,
Or I'm not probably. Yes.
somebody's going to buy him, and will
Yeah.
it be the Mariners? I don't know.
And I mean, and JT gets his pick. He mentioned that he wouldn't mind staying with the Mariners, but he also said, I'm going into free agency. I'm going to see my options. And
That's a business decision.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. But
Would you want him to play first base or just strictly DH?
I would like him at first, honestly. Like
Both.
He's good enough to play. You know.
That's a Luke Raley platoon, like Justin Turner. When Luke Raley plays in the outfield and someone needs a day off, Justin Turner can play first, and
like
also DH. And Raley's more flexible. So
What do you do with?
I like
Haniger?
him, but like I don't know if we're gonna get Turner back. That's totally.
He's gonna be
different.
on the team.
I
though.
want him back, but who?
yeah.
Haniger. We have Haniger. Yeah.
So what do you do?
Sit him on the bench.
He's going to hang out.
Big vibes guy, just hanging out.
He's not even a vibes guy. That's the fucking problem.
He's gonna play right bench, dude.
right bench and left out.
Yep.
Okay.
He'll be a pinch hitter. He does have that little Mariners clutch gene that we talk about.
He's weirdly clutch.
Yeah.
Very
So
clutch.
I mean, that's not a bad late inning decision for Mitch Haniger to hit.
And that will be the extent of his role. And that's all he deserves, honestly. Just the occasional pinch hitter, maybe.
And that's what I was saying this
Just
year.
game winners.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be playing that many games, and he played a lot of games.
All right.
So I mean, that leaves second base open, and first base is still open because Luke Raley and Mitch Haniger are on the team, and Raley can play first, but that's a big piece that, like, on every team, you want that hitter to be a slugger, and there are players available. I've heard Paul Goldschmidt as a possibility, but these are all the rumors. We're going to hear the gamut of rumors, and it's just the offseason just started. So I heard Paul Goldschmidt. We're probably going to hear Vlad's name come up again until the Blue Jays want to do an extension with him, which could be in the works. I have no idea. I wouldn't doubt seeing his name again. Tristan Casas from the Red Sox. Who knows? I mean, that guy had a really great year until he got injured, and then had a rocky end of the year, but he's still a very talented young first baseman. There are players out there. Pete Alonso has still been rumored to the Mariners, but like, is it too late for Pete Alonso?
I was so open to that idea. I'm out on this idea.
This has been going on for too long, the Pete Alonso idea.
And he's performing well in the playoffs right now. That clutch, game-winning, eventual game-winning 3-run home run.
Yeah.
And then I think he had like an RBI single or some shit today.
But I do think that's what the Mariners are looking for, though, is like a shorter, older player, a shorter contract for an older player that's not looking for a massive extension, so that they can just use them
who's
for...
older than Justin Turner?
That's what
One
I'm
guy.
saying.
There is
he's-
one guy older than Justin Turner
He's a good target
It's Max
because of
Scherzer.
that. Yeah, let's get Mad Max.
to play first base.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, dude.
His arm's gonna fall off if he pitches again. So
Man, so
But that's why they target
I'll extend
Paul
the second
Goldschmidt,
base
too.
conversation.
Yeah.
We can open that up to shortstop as well.
Yeah.
JP has already said in the past he would be okay moving to second base if that's what's best for the team. So
I still
we
think
can keep
that'd
that
be
option
dope.
open. It's very likely he's going to come back and play shortstop.
Yeah.
That's his
Yep.
position.
Right.
But fuck, man, we have had second base just cursed for too long.
And until
Woes.
we had Randy, who will now be slated as our left fielder, left field and second base has just been a who's who of who gives a fuck.
It's very true.
It's just been just everyone in and out and all over, and we need to lock those positions down. Although, careful what you ask for, we were so excited that we had a DH locked down, and look how that played out for us. So.
Yeah, that kind of backfired. Also, Polanco was such a coin flip. Haniger was such a coin flip. But at least we ate some money on the Robbie Ray contract getting Haniger over here. But we're still paying him $17.5 million this year instead of paying Robbie Ray like 30.
Yeah.
But so we're still like eating or like saving $10 million by having Mitch Haniger, but we have to struggle through another year of both Mitches and work around it. So Polanco's moving out. Who we got at second base? I'm excited to see what we do because I mean even Rojas can play.
Does Adam
second
Frazier
base.
need a job?
Maybe.
No.
Rojas can play second base too.
Yes.
That's true.
Even though he had a great year at third
You're
base.
right.
it's-
We can open these options up that direction as well. We can start looking at second, short, and third.
Can we
and
start
pick up
looking
any
at-
of those guys?
Isak Paredes again.
That's a good pick.
I want him still. I think he's gotten
From the Rays,
He's grown on me the more the Mariners have been interested in him
wasn't
every
Luke
time.
Rayleigh a Ray?
Yep.
He was.
Wasn't Randy Arozarena a Ray?
Yep.
Yep.
Isn't Isak Paredes a Ray?
Oh, he is.
Let's just get that team.
That sounds good.
Put him in Seattle.
They can find some pitching prospect
Go.
that they like, and
Yeah.
we'll take Isak Paredes. Thank you very much.
Our roster is just going to be filled up with Reds and Rays.
I heard, or I saw an article that was like Reds pass on former Mariners manager Scott Service. It's like, well, duh, of course.
Could you imagine though? It just goes full circle, and eventually the Reds
been
and the Mariners are
hilarious.
just gonna accidentally fuse into one team. They're gonna be playing against each other, and there's gonna be like some collision on the base pass, and everyone's just gonna fuse, and we're just gonna become the one team. We've done so many trades with them.
We'll be blue and red.
Yeah,
The Seattle Redners.
that's right. It's gonna happen. But yeah,
Seattle Bay Raidners now. Let's do a 3-team.
yeah. I also like. I don't know though. He seemed. That's funny. Also on the Reds, Jonathan India.
Yeah.
That is an option.
Hot Topic, Jonathan India. I don't know. Hot Topic. You guys ever shop at Hot Topic?
Yeah, dude.
Get your band T-shirts there.
Oh yeah.
Used to.
Cool patches, stickers.
Good catch, Garrett.
Nice catch.
Yeah, Jonathan India. I think we should still grab that guy.
Does he need any? Never mind.
What about Brendan
Striped hair
Donovan?
extensions.
Give me with that studded wallet, bro.
Dude, studded belt.
Did he pick up the new Cannibal Corpse album?
I sampled it, but I didn't pick it up. I picked up Taking
I just
Back
got some
Sunday.
incense.
I was more of a Spencer's kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
I picked up the brand new album instead.
Oh, my Marilyn Manson T-shirts. Anyway, why'd you say it's a hot topic, Jonathan India?
We need a second baseman.
Cool.
I think he's a good one.
I would like that. And yeah, I mean, we do kind of have the flexibility of JP moving to second, of Rojas moving to second. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't see JP moving away from third base. That's his position.
Third base.
Yep.
Or,
He's going to be at third base for a while.
Shortstop. I can't see JP moving away from short just because he's locked it down, and it's his.
He's solid at shortstop.
He's one of the best at shortstop, honestly.
When his bat is cooking, he is best Mariner for sure.
Yeah, he got MVP votes last year. Don't forget. He was injured this year in an essential time in the season when we needed the vibes and we needed the energy from JP in there, but he wasn't. And then at the same time, but he wasn't. At the same time, Julio got hurt at the end when
Yeah,
JP was
fuck.
like approaching return, and then that didn't help either. Our vibes were low. We didn't get too high or too low all season, but there was one thing after another, and it was just a mediocre roller coaster of a season. Very, very disappointing. And the way it started, it looked like the Mariners were going to actually do it this year and win the West and take it from the Astros. It was all there on a tee, and we swung and we hit the tee, and the ball landed on the plate, and we struck ourselves out. So, so
Even
that's
I didn't know. I mean, do we get Tyler Locklear to play first base?
no.
There's no way you would take Locklear at first over like Rayleigh.
Right.
So
I think we go outside.
And there's too many dudes.
We get a free agent, and we fill first base from outside. We have to. I don't mind Paul Goldschmidt. He's an older guy, too. I think they're targeting shorter years because we said our window is closing in this era, and we just need someone to fill 1 or 2 years of maybe we'll make the playoffs until those young guys that come up, and we're trying to home grow it all again and put our pitching staff that we've grown now.
It's an endless cycle.
you know what?
This is more of the same bullshit.
That is actually a
yep.
good idea. I really hope the Mariners get an older player who's on the decline, and his best years were 5 years ago. They should mix it up and try to make a move like that.
When it's Justin Turner and it's Paul Goldschmidt, it's a little bit different than Mitch Haniger and AJ Pollock,
Jorge
Polanco. Those are different caliber players. They're playing in their late 30s, like I said before, because they've been so good, and they can still do it. They still have the bat speed. They still have the quickness. They still have the hands. Whatever it is, they still got it.
So let's sign him up, send him to the team where players go to die.
Yep.
I still want Vlad.
Oh, yeah.
8 years, $420 million.
Blaze it.
Blaze it. Come on, Vlad. We got 420 for you.
I was looking at Vlad's career numbers, and the only time I've ever really watched him play is when he comes to Seattle, and it was like 2 years ago when he was in Seattle, and that's when the Mariners had the big 4-game sweep against Toronto, and then and this year Toronto played the Mariners, and that's when he lost his bat swinging.
Oh my God, like
in like three times. And so my opinion of Vlad was like, well, he's not that good. I've seen him play in person. I've seen it now I've seen him play 5 times in the last 2 years, and I just wasn't seeing it. And I pulled up his stats on how he plays when he's not at T-Mobile, and holy shit, he's phenomenal. He's really, really good. But on top of
Amazing.
that, do we want another player that doesn't necessarily play well at T-Mobile? We did that with Mitch Garver. Garver, we're like,
never had a hit.
Oh, he's 0 for 34
I think it was like 50.
all time at T-Mobile. Never had a hit.
Have you looked up his stats at T-Mobile? I'm gonna look him up right now.
Do it.
You said he hasn't been good here?
Patrick says I test bad.
Because I know one thing. Okay, while I get there, I know one thing is we watched him win the home run derby at T-Mobile Park. I know that's not anything near like in game, but his batting splits, career. I'm gonna see his splits. He's played quite a few games.
No, you're busy.
You're
We're
working.
playing around.
We're working.
We're not doing anything.
He's played quite a few games at T-Mobile. Show ballparks. And I think he's done pretty well. I feel like he's done some damage. Let's see. 16 games, 72 at-bats. He's hitting 273 with a 319 on base and a 409 slugging for a 729 OPS. And that's not awesome, but it's not terrible. It's very middle of the road. 291 BABIP and 91 TOPS plus. So, pretty league average.
But he's above league average everywhere else that he plays. That's the thing.
At Fenway, he hits 356 with a 622 slugging and a 1 OPS. So he should be a Red Sox, if anything.
Matt, shut the fuck up.
I mean, if he's smart,
Yeah.
he could be a Baltimore Oriole and hit 363 with a 591 slug. But at T-Mobile, it is very middle of the road. So I don't think it would be one of his top options to come here unless something changes in the ballpark where he can actually see the ball, because it's a big problem.
Straighten out that batter's eye.
Yeah, they have to, man. I can't believe it's at an angle and so far from the center field wall.
In order to not do any renovations, Seattle's full of artists. Can we just paint it so that it looks like it's straight, but it's actually a crazy wall? Like,
make it look like it's a corner.
Do some like weird perspective shit.
Yeah.
The thing is why I'm like kind of the last to blame the batter's eye. I put a lot of problems on other stuff before.
Sure.
The batter's eye. Because, like, Fenway has a crooked-ass center field. It's crooked as hell. And no one seems to have an issue hitting there.
Yeah,
So-
but players on the
They have a garage door
yeah.
out there.
I don't know, man. I think it has to do with like where the ball comes out of pitchers' hands and how like the top of that wall and then the top of the center field wall and the pitcher all like it's all like depth perception stuff. Like Fenway at least is all one color and like pretty flat looking, you know. There's one section of fans that they do tarp off when they don't have a lot of tickets sold so that it's easier for the hitter to see, or at least I tried that before. But it's more like uniform. And the Mariners have there's so many things going on that like make perspective really hard from that angle. And Fenway's a little more simple. But that is a good example of an angled wall, but I think it works better there because it's so tall and there's so much more like uniform backdrop.
And there aren't, star players on the big bad Dodgers coming out and being like, that ballpark is bad. Shining a little less light on them. Like we have.
Yeah, Teoscar.
Fucking Teoscar Hernandez.
Said he didn't like it.
Do you want to see his stats from the Dodger Stadium this year?
I know that. No, I know they're good. They're
he
very
hit
good.
like 278 and had like an 850 OPS.
He was like
That's
he was
cool.
like
Tons
fourth
of
on the
homers.
team in RBIs, and the people in front of him are like Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, and Mookie Betts.
He
So like,
crushed.
yeah, he's phenomenal.
Do we have a
doesn't hurt.
Shohei minute?
Also, I don't know if you guys remember this. The batter's eye used to not even be black; it was like painted green.
It was, yeah.
And the sun was hitting directly off of it and like blinding hitters and stuff. So they're like, all right, fine, we'll fix it. We'll paint it black.
Just like Jay Buhner's head
Yeah.
in that commercial. Classic.
They Rolling Stones it and just painted it black.
They sure did. Remember in 2002 when they planted trees there to try to fix the problem and it was worse and they complained even more? Got rid of the trees in like 1 year.
Do something.
I see
Change
a
something.
green wall and
If they-
I
I was thinking the
want it
same.
painted black.
I had the same thought.
I just saw the Rolling Stones actually. They
How are
were
Old.
they're old, yeah, but they're ripping, dude. They still like have energy and can do it. They do have a drummer and a bassist that, hold it down hard and keep the old dudes just rocking and looking cool. I just gotta say those guys are the real highlight of the show.
Okay. It's crazy to me that they're still touring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. I didn't think I was
Getting
gonna
on
see
a
them.
Plane or a bus every day and just shipping 70, 80-year-old guys around the country, around the world to play the same songs all the time. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's a feat in itself.
It's insane. I was down on the field at the Lumen Stadium. I think it was Lumen Park. I don't know what it's called. Lumen. I was on the field and like you know how it's so loud on the field. They designed it to be loud that way. After the show was over, I was like, oh shit, like I'm on the field and everyone was cheering so loud from like the rafters everywhere. And dude, it was so fucking loud on the field. Sound was just colliding and exploding. Like it was crazy.
That's because the Seahawks built their stadium to help their team.
Shit, what do you know?
And the Mariners are like, here's some crooked walls, you piece of shit.
The Mariners should take some fucking notes.
For sure.
They got to
Change it.
straighten out that batter's eye. I swear it'll change everything.
Close the roof. Close the roof. Change the fence. Make the fences 210 feet.
By the
All
Sounders.
the way around. Every light pop-up is now a home run. The Mariners lead the league.
Bring one of the corners in 45 feet. The left field corner is now 45 feet closer. You can just park home runs into that little triangle.
You look at the stupid right field wall. Fenway has it too, and the Angels. The Angels' right field wall is literally like half an inch off the ground. It's like a little curb, and then it's just seats. That's so weird.
Don't they still have that wall where they have a yellow line halfway up? If it hits over the line, it's a home run.
Yeah.
They used to have it so that it was the top of the wall was a home run, but hitters were complaining, so they put the line like halfway down the wall. So it'd just be bouncing off the wall and be a home run. And
It's a home run
so
now.
stupid.
I don't really understand the yellow line. Can you guys help me with this?
That's anything over it is a home run.
If it goes over
Right.
and past the
Some
yellow
people
line.
say there's a corner.
Yep.
Sometimes the yellow line is on the front. Sometimes the yellow line is on the top. Is it not?
If it hits the top and goes if it hits the corner and comes back in, it's still in. But it has to go over the wall, right? So if it hits the wall and goes over the wall, it's a home run. But I don't know about if it's just on a flat wall.
Yeah, if it just goes over the yellow, it's a home run. So
How do you call that? That's so weird.
I'm confused by it.
So let's just say there's a fence, and usually the yellow line is always just right at the top of the fence to show the top of the fence. But if there is something like that wall where it's a big standing wall like this,
Yellow
there's
line.
a yellow line. Any ball that hits above that yellow line it's a home run.
That's wild.
It looked so stupid to watch. And and that's a home run. And it's like the ball's bouncing back into right field. And the right fielder's like, now I have to go get that ball and throw it somewhere. What the fuck?
Get rid of it.
Yeah, that's some funky stuff. But the Mariners need to do a little bit more normal stuff instead of funky stuff. I think our dimensions are fine. Why don't we just draw Yankee Stadium's wall dimensions and then just do that? Just put it there, and then we can sell more tickets because we'll have about 2,000 more seats in the park because our outfield's so
and about
fucking
2,000
huge.
more home runs.
Yeah, I think there's something has to be done, man.
Got to do something. I wonder if they'll
can't wait
do
to
anything.
hear.
Realistically, do you think they're going to do anything?
I think they're gonna do something about the batter's eye.
What? What do you
Straighten it.
realistically think? You think they're going to do
It's at
construction
like a
on the ballpark?
15-degree angle.
I don't think they're going to do any construction on
They're
the
gonna
ballpark.
build a wall. I'm gonna make a petition. Build the wall.
No, I'm asking you for real. For real,
That's
for
what I
real.
think.
Do
Honestly,
you think they will do anything?
They have to.
I just think that if they
I don't think they're going to.
I
They're
just
gonna
think
build the wall.
if they had planned for changing the batter's eye, they would have had talked about it beforehand and would be ready to start construction day one of the season ending, right? They're okay, the season is officially over. No more games here. Let's start construction.
Do you think
now.
they're talking about it now? They gotta be talking about it.
Well, if
now.
they're talking about it, it's very possible that they do it in the future, but I think there's going to be lead up to it beforehand. They're going to be yeah, we're going to be changing this shit. Da, 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 da,
I know I'm being hopeful. I'm trying I'm hoping that they will do something, but it's likely that they won't. Especially because they just keep playing into our park factor and they want the good pitching and don't go spend for the offense, and they just play right into it, give us enough hope, string us along, hope for the best, and eventually our team will be good enough to make the playoffs because we do draft well, we develop well, and hopefully the next wave of players is good. And that's what they keep giving us, right? And it is true. It is true that the next group of players is good. That's not a lie when they're saying they're trying to make a sustainable future. They didn't trade our top prospects at the deadline this year and still got some return, but it's just enough to keep us to give us
It
hope.
is just enough.
All I hear from that is, we're going to move the goalpost. We were really close this year. We're just going to move the goalpost back a little bit further.
That's
It's
exactly what I'm saying.
It's
just
just-
goalpost moving.
goalpost moving.
At
there
some
rules
point,
about-
we'll score a goal.
Sorry, are there rules about like not being able to practice at your home field for a certain amount of time, like in the off season?
You know, that's an interesting question. I actually don't know
like
what the
you know,
off season work, because I know like football, their rules and stuff for practices are like insane with like how much contact is allowed and this, that, and the other, and like where you can practice and all this stuff. I mean, I'm sure baseball has something along those lines, right? Because the players themselves do get an off season as well.
I wouldn't. I mean, why would you think that they can't work out at a facility owned by the team? I feel like that's one of their facilities that they're able to work out at any time, but it's just not the most beneficial for everybody to travel to in the off season.
I guess I
And the
might be
weather
wrong.
sucks.
I feel like I've heard rules that now. Totally, I'm like making half of this up because I don't
Yeah,
know what it is.
full
But let's say
speculation on my
from
side, too.
the end of the World Series to the start of the season, the real full-blown off season, there's like a certain amount of time that you can't just show up to the park and take BP. Like you can't do that all off season.
I mean, I
I
wouldn't
wonder.
be surprised because
That's what I'm asking.
I've never thought about it, but if there are rules, I mean, I would be surprised because it's a ML, like it's the team owned facility.
See what I
that
can do about a Google
why wouldn't
situation.
why wouldn't the Major League Park be a workout facility as well? Like a training facility, you can use it in whatever capacity you want. Just depends on what. I don't know. I don't see why there would be restrictions on it, but if there are, I mean that there could be for a reason. Who knows? But either way, T-Mobile gets used as a concert venue for a couple months as well. So.
yeah.
True. Yeah.
And no one wants to travel to Seattle in the fall and winter to practice baseball. It's cold.
That's true too. They wouldn't want to practice here.
We have a training facility in Arizona.
Quick
they go
Google
ahead and-
says I'm totally wrong. Yeah, players can practice at their ballpark.
Yeah. I wouldn't see why not unless
I'll look into it a little more.
Yeah. That's also just Google AI. Who knows?
get that home field advantage. Practice at your home ballpark.
We'll do
It's like,
plenty
of
of
course
research.
they can. That would be stupid if they can't. And there's a clear rule, like fuck no, because it's baseball and weird shit happens.
You never know.
We'll do plenty of research in our long off season. So, I mean, we've pretty much covered
The whole season
We've
at
covered
this
the
point.
season. We've had our ups and downs, our peaks and valleys, our sad times and
And our sadder times.
sadder times and saddest times.
And Scott Service is gone,
That was
so
a
we
happy
don't
time.
have to see his face anymore. And Dan Wilson has a winning record, so that's promising for the future. Yeah,
Hope to see Edgar back at least for home games.
I hope so.
Yeah, Edgar seemed to be working. And you know what? Honestly, even if he was just enough to break the mold and be like, hey, these hitters respond better when we're not showing them charts and graphs and percentages and we're just letting them hit. So, Edgar doesn't, from what I've kind of heard, doesn't seem like he wants to be a full-time coach. That's a big responsibility and stuff, and he's been enjoying retirement for years.
Make him the offensive coordinator.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Just
Make-
telling the real hitting coach to be like, dude, that shit doesn't work.
Yeah,
literally just a
That's his job.
just a damn
philosophical-
consultant.
Isn't that what Ichiro does?
philosophical counselor.
Isn't he a
Like
a spiritual advisor or
just
something like
an
that?
advisor, consultant. But
He just wants to take BP occasionally. Let's be real.
we do know that the Mariners are probably going to push really hard to have Edgar back next season since it's the 20th anniversary of 95 or 30th anniversary.
Well, it seems like he just wants to be local, and he'll be around as much as he wants to be because the Mariners are more than open to having him as much as he wants to be there, but aren't going to push him. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And if he's around enough, we play half of our games at home, and if he's here for those games, then awesome. That's great. That's enough Edgar Martinez in our lives to
It's
help
like
the
classic
Mariners.
movie trope stuff, though. It's like, oh,
I kind of like it.
We got to get this guy out of retirement so that he can make our team win.
He starts hitting in the cage and working out and gets back on the field.
like-
1-year contract.
They go meet up with him, and he's like, "No, I'm retired. I told myself I would never go back." And they're like, "Edgar, we need you."
You still got it, Edgar. We see you in the cage.
And then he shows up to a practice, and there's a cinematic shot of him being like, maybe just one more year.
They signed him for a 1-day contract.
He
And then
plays
he
in that
gets in the
one
game.
game, walk-off home run.
And at the end of
Walk
the
off
movie,
double down the left field line, you mean?
all the players lift him up, and they win the World Series, and he's got his fist up, fade out, or like fade in, kind of. That's the Seattle Mariners story. Write the script. Put the movie out there. Fantasy movies get made all the time. Why not this one?
We'll write
Sign
it
him
into
up.
existence.
83-year, $787 million contract.
I'll write the screenplay in the off season.
All right, sounds good.
So,
We got a movie in the works.
so this was our season. It was fun for the most part. Lot of bummers at the end in a row. Thank you all for riding this out with us.
Do you have one word to wrap it all up?
Disappointing.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
That like honestly to just put it all into one word, it was a disappointing season.
I have another word. I use it a lot. It's a very Matt word.
What is it?
Lackluster.
Lackluster. You do say that a lot. I was gonna say underwhelming,
Just
but I
one
don't think
more.
it was underwhelming necessarily.
I was very whelmed.
I was a little whelmed.
We rode the ride.
It was
It was whelming.
Shameful.
Yeah.
It was a shameful season. Pissing away a 10-game lead. Shameful.
I can't think of one.
It wasn't abysmal. It wasn't atrocious.
No.
No.
It was kind of shitty.
Very meh.
Very meh.
I'm gonna
We-
call
we
it
knew.
standard.
Hey, there
Par
we go.
for the course.
Par for the course, hyphenated, but I was
Yeah.
trying to think of one word.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, classic Mariners.
Classic. There you go. That's a good one. Classic.
Classic.
All right. I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll put a wrap on this season. We've made the switch to video this year. We've had our ups and downs with that, but
We're learning.
we're getting the hang of it, and being on video is fun.
We have a whole off season to figure out more settings and cool stuff to put on our table and all the things.
It is kind of crazy that we just did it on a whim. This season was already going on. We just had a few comments reaching out to us from our listeners, being like,
Why
"Hey,
don't you guys do video?
It'd be cool if you guys switched to video." And we said, "Okay."
Yeah, we can.
And
we can
Might
swing
as
that.
well,
Yeah.
might as well.
And we had a lot of fun with that. We had a lot of fun doing this, despite the headaches, especially the last few weeks. But we will be back next season, bigger, better, stronger.
Uncut.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back next year and keep this thing rolling. The Mariners are still our favorite team, the one MLB baseball team that has not reached the World Series. We do a podcast about it.
Yep.
We did this to ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean,
we chose to do this.
This is
We'll
our whole lives.
complain and complain and
Same
complain, but it's our own fault.
I know you guys are there with us. You love
your
the
fault, too.
Mariners just as much as us.
You're just as much to blame as we are.
Thanks for listening. And it'd be nice to get a couple more subscribers at the end of the season and at least go out with a dub on our end, right? So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your brother.
Should be
And,
right.
And yeah,
down there.
hit the button
in that,
over there.
in that direction.
Give us a nice
Oh,
rating.
it might be flipped because of the camera, so maybe that.
Yeah, maybe
No,
it's over
I'm
here.
on the left. If you're
Not
watching
sure.
the video.
Just good, high quality.
Either way, thank
Pointing
you.
content.
Thank you for sticking with us, watching, and
Yeah, thank you all. You guys have a great off season as well. Take a rest. Go on
Enjoy
a
it.
vacation. Spend time with friends, family, loved ones.
don't get too soggy.
Yeah, don't get too soggy out there. And for the last time in 2024, go Mariners!